Today is the 21st of February. It's a very special day, most especially in my life, because it's the day my teacher, my guru, it's the day he took his Samadhi. And, it's important because basically all of this meditation is about that. It's about attaining a state of enlightenment, because one day we all have to leave here. And it simply depends upon the state in which we are in when we leave here that determines whether or not we really have lived and have attained a state of enlightenment. And Samadhi is that. It's a person who spent just about most of his life, Rudi, working in great depth on himself, serving God, serving higher energy, devoting his life to that. And in the process of devoting his life to that, he attained a state of grace. He attained this state of real freedom. He used to talk about, there's one thing the universe can't take away from me. And that's, the joy in my heart, the love for God, the willingness to serve God, to serve higher energy in the universe. And, it was a great thing that I learned from him because I realized in studying with him, we all get older. One thing I can guarantee everybody is they will get older. And it depends upon what we take with us as we get older, what our inner state is, how developed we are as human beings, as spiritual beings, and the ability to truly open and become a child of God, a servant of higher energy in the universe. A lot of people are afraid of this. I won't have family, I won't have friends, I won't have this, jobs. But that's all nonsense because everybody has karma, and I talk about it all the time. And everybody is here to learn how to work out their karma. And ultimately, you learn to work out your karma by becoming a happy person. So today, to me, is, also, I was with Rudi the moment he left the world. It was probably the single most dramatic thing, and I've had many dramatic things happen in my life, that's ever happened in my life, to be in an airplane with your spiritual teacher and to hit a mountain. And then to walk away, understanding that you don't have a life anymore, that your life has to be completely in the service of higher energy in the universe, God, whatever one wants to call it. It was a very powerful moment. And in that moment, Rudi literally, he put his soul force inside me. And it's the only reason I'm alive today. You don't hit a mountain at 125 miles an hour in an airplane and expect to walk away. And it was, there are no accidents in the world. It was Rudi's time to leave. And he, as everything, he did it with grace. He did it with surrender. His last words were a deeper sense of surrender. Those were his last words on the planet Earth. A deeper sense of surrender. And I think those words have to have meaning to all of us because the more deeply we can surrender inside ourselves, you understand, more open we are to higher energy in the universe. The more open we are to the manifestation of spirit around us, the manifestation of God's energy, everything we see, touch, taste, smell, is a manifestation of that energy. So our work really is to build the kind of system that allows us to ultimately attain a state of samadhi. Every soul, every human being has to eventually attain this. That's why people are born on the earth, to attain a higher level of consciousness, a oneness with God, the freedom from karma, the ability to move on to whatever the next dimension in their evolution is of consciousness. So, you know, I mean, this is really what I teach, you know, and to work out what I'm talking about, we have to work out our lives on the earth. That's what we have a chakra below the navel for, to get us strong enough to be able to build a system that can enable us to simply live here and work out our karma here, to be ultimately to be happy people. You know, God is love, you know, God is compassion, God is the highest elements of human emotion. And that is really working out our karma on the earth, because you don't get free until you're free of all these things. You know, you don't get free by spacing out on, you know, astral traveling and all kinds of cosmic stuff. You get free by really, you know, being able to be happy living in this world. We're born here to learn how to do this. And I saw my teacher do it. I saw him go through very difficult situations. And he always came out of them with this beautiful smile on his face, this great sweetness that came out of him, this great fire that was inside him, this extraordinary consciousness that was burning up his karma, that was burning up everything that he had to work on in order to get free in this world. So Samadhi is a very special day. You know, I mean, we're not here to worship Rudi. We're not here to worship anybody. We're here to build our connection with God. We're here to open and find that depth of openness inside ourselves, where we truly become a child of God living on the earth. There's that level of surrender, that level of depth inside. We have mastered all our tension, well, not all, but most of our tension. We'll never master the whole thing. But, you know, we mastered it and we had learned how to transform it. Somebody's trying to get in and I'm being blocked. Okay. Anyway, that's what we're here for, is to learn how to do this. And in learning how to do this, we grow spiritually. You know, we build inside ourselves this depth of what our own humanity is. As human beings, we learn how to love, to have joy in our hearts, you know, to be able to transform all the things that really bother us and make our lives, you know, tense and difficult, into love, into openness, into a deeper sense of surrender. Because ultimately, every soul that is born, that comes to this planet, every soul has to attain a state of samadhi. It's either this lifetime, next one, maybe 20 down the road, but every soul is evolving towards that, each in their own unique way. Us, these, you know, each in their own, you know, unique way. Every one of us really trying to, you know, build that kind of system that enables us to live in the world, to open to the world, to truly be a child of God living on the planet Earth, and at the same time being connected to spirit, so that ultimately we can detach our soul from all this material nonsense that we have to deal with all the time and be free. Be free of it all, to get off the merry-go-round, you know, to walk out of the carnival of life and to be, you know, one with higher energy in the universe. It's, you know, to be honest with you, it is truly why I do what I do. It's to serve God, it's to serve higher energy. It's gratitude to my teachers, to Rudi, to Nityananda, because without them, I wouldn't be here doing this. So I do it out of gratitude. And it's also to help, you know, transmit the Shakti that can help people grow and move closer to this state of samadhi that the soul has to attain. So today is that day. It's a very special day. you know, especially in my life, you know, I mean, I was there the moment that Rudi died, you know, and I mean, it's unforgettable. I mean, it's total, probably the most dramatic moment I have ever had to live through. And trust me, I've lived through some pretty seriously dramatic moments in my life, but that one really was the pinnacle. And it happened on top of a mountain, for God's sake, you know, and, you know, on February 21st. And, you know, we sat there all night on the mountain around a fire. There were 3 of us that survived. You know, frankly, I'm the only one who's still alive. The other 2 people, you know, have passed on also. And it, you know, and it was a miracle. I understood it. And I kept thanking Rudi for allowing me to be with him the last moment of his life. I couldn't think of a higher blessing, you know, no matter what the drama was, the tragedy was, because stuff happens to every one of us. I was there with him. He transmitted his soul force into me to just keep me alive and allow me to continue to do and develop the work that he taught me. So it's a special day, you know, and the grace of it all is that we as people can sit here and do this meditation. It's the greatest gift that Rudi left the world. And people tell all these stories about him and folk tales and this, but all of it is kind of nonsense, because the greatest thing he bequeathed to all of us is this simple double breathing exercise, because that exercise enabled him to attain his samadhi. It enabled me to grow the way I've grown in my life. And it's why I'm trying to pass on to all of you so that you can use it, each in your own unique way, to develop your connection with higher energy in the universe. So in the class, I don't think any of you here have ever met Rudi or even know about him, many of you, you know, but it doesn't matter. Just try to open your heart and just be grateful. Be deeply grateful that we can sit here and do this work. And we're sitting here and doing this work, you know, because of what he taught me many, 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 many years ago. So God bless you all for being here, and we'll have a meditation. And if you have never met Rudi and you don't, you know, try to, you know, just open and find a connection there. Because it's not only good to have a teacher on the earth working for you, it really is incredible to have teachers in the cosmos doing it. You know, like Rudi and Nityananda, and, you know, I have Ramakrishna and Ramana Maharshi and Sarada Devi. I have a host of these teachers, these spiritual beings that are all in the cosmos that really work for me every day of my life. We need that. We need protection. We need to be guided by higher forces in the universe. And we need it because we really have to find and, you know, journey on the path that takes us one day to a state of samadhi, a oneness with God. So everybody try to work very deeply inside, try to open, and we'll have a meditation class. I've unmuted everyone, and if anyone has a question I would like to ask.
Stuart, I have a question. What year did Rudi pass?
1973. February 21st, 1973. It's a long time ago. He told me he was going to live to 84 years old. He told me that many times. He also told me many times he was going to be in an airplane crash.
Oh.
Yeah. He didn't tell me I was going to be with him, but it was supposed to be somewhere in the Middle East, or he was going to disappear for years and then reemerge. And it turned out it was up in the Catskill Mountains. So he told me that, many times. It was about it. So he kind of knew this, and I mean, he was a rather young man. He died, he was 45 years old. But in the last year of his life, I honestly can tell you, I never saw anybody grow as much as he grew in the last. He was a completely transformed person in the last year of his life. He really worked out his karma, everything in that last year of his life. He finished up his job here. I remember he called me in Texas, asked me to come up to New York. And he said, Stuart, don't be shocked when you see me. I'm like a different person. And I got off the plane and he was waiting in the airport for me, and it was shocking to see how much he had changed. So I think I had seen him 3 months before, in the 3 months since I'd seen him. But he was working hard. He was, had students all over the world. He was running his business. He was the property in New York. It was, it was a hugely successful life he lived. And I remember also he said to me, the one thing that keeps him going, and this is really something, he said he remembered when he was in India, he saw Nityananda go to sleep on a potato sack, and he said, I want my life to be that simple. I know I have to work through all this stuff, the economics, the money, everything, so I can get my life as simple as Nityananda lived his life. I mean, he was an amazing being, that way, because he recognized what was real and what was an illusion, and wasn't sucked into the illusion. Yeah, he liked success and he had a lot of financial success in his life, but he wasn't sucked into the illusion. It had one purpose, and that was to help him build his work on the earth so he could serve God, serve higher energy in the universe. And he loved success, Rudi. He loved financial success. He loved spirit, and anything that allowed you to grow, that you had to expand your capacity. He was a fan. I mean, it's like I told you that story about, buy that building. Well, I have $600 in my bank account already, so anyone could do with money. And I bought the building, and God bless, he died about a month after I bought the building. He never saw what took place there. Probably the most successful restaurant in the city where I lived. It was hugely successful thing that took place there. But is the nature of life, is opening to possibility, to developing the capacity to really expand your life on a material plane, on a spiritual, on every plane. So there's nothing to come back for. You really have worked through it all. There's none of this money stuff that so cripples people, relationship stuff that cripples people. And I'd be honest to tell you, I learned this from him, because up until I met him, I was a poet, I was this, I was not interested in any of this. And when I met him, my whole energy transformed. And I began to realize the significance of attaining success in the world. Not to be successful and to live on some ivory tower or live on the 87th floor of some multi-billion-dollar building, or that's all nonsense. But it was to have success so that success didn't have me. I could be free of it. And then not only having it, it was learning how to detach from it and not allowing it to have you. That's the purpose of success. And I learned that from Rudi, and then I stopped being afraid of it. and just did it. I said, okay, I got to learn how to do this. I learned it, and I also learned how to get stronger than it and not be attached to it, not to put myself in some kind of position where I was better than anybody else. So, I mean, that's really, it's so much the nature of life and what we're here to learn. And it also enables us to love our families deeper and love our children deeper, our friends, or, to just respect people and to let them be and let them learn about their life. And another thing I learned from this meditation, that the real temple is not a church on a corner or an ashram or a synagogue or a mosque. The real temple is life. Life itself is the temple. Because whatever is alive is sacred. And it's there to teach us what we need to learn to grow, how we need to learn to evolve inside ourselves. So, and honestly, when I was really young, I wanted a spiritual life, but I didn't know how to do it. And I spent 9 years of my life, from 16 to 25, making myself crazy, going all over the world, looking, searching. Then I came back to New York and I found Rudi, And I realized, I said, Stuart, you've sat with so many teachers, and here's somebody who kind of has common sense about all this. It wasn't love, peace, and eat vegetables and you will be enlightened. But there was common sense, there was grounding, there was, and then on top of it all, there was love. There was love that came out of the deepest place inside this being. And I said, you got to learn what he has to teach. So try today to take Rudi into your heart. I mean it. It won't hurt you in any way. And it'll give you a connection with Rudi, and you'll probably get a connection with Nityananda. And I don't know who else, how many teachers in the cosmos this energy draws to one. And just be grateful, because it's a work like no other work in the world, where it combines living in the world and getting free of the world. You don't become a clone of some other teacher. You become your own individual, you have your own individual human connection with God or higher energy. And it allows you to grow and be a unique person instead of having to walk around, in robes and, turbans and, looking like somebody that, should be living, in the hills in India, that you're your own person, your own human creativity and element that grows. And I never found a work that allowed me to do that, that rejoiced in me being the deepest steward I could possibly be. As a teacher, the best thing you can do for any teacher is to grow past them, to learn everything they have to teach and get bigger. That's the greatest service you can do a teacher. I mean it. And in all humility, I love that. I love the idea that that is possible. I mean, even Rudi told me, he said, you can be a third-rate Rudi or a first-rate Stuart, Don't try to be me. Just take the energy, the Shakti, and allow it to help you become the deepest possible person you can become in your lifetime. And I can't think of anything better than that, because everyone here is different. Everyone's different. I don't see any Stuart sitting in front of me. I see a lot of different people, and that's wonderful. And I used to hear that from Rudi all the time. Everyone's different, everyone's unique. And he loved the fact that everyone was unique, and so do I, So if you become a first-rate you'll be more than me. And that, to me, is a blessing, That to me is what Samadhi is for. Then I've done my job, you know? I can be free of all this stuff. You know, you get off the merry-go-round. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Excuse me. Yes, how are you, Stuart?
Hi.
How do you think Rudi would view this time that we're living through at this moment and the impact of our inner work on the collective consciousness?
I think he would be pretty much doing what I'm doing because you don't have an alternative, you know? I mean, it's to try to connect with as many people around the world and transmit the Shakti and energy and try to, you know, serve God that way. You know, I mean, he would be working inside himself to open and, you know, really connect with spirit and to use the same way we're all doing. We're all using this COVID-19 thing in order to, you know, develop a spiritual life, to build in ourselves a chakra system that is connected together. Like we're a bunch of monks living in caves here, you know? It's really true. I mean, you know, everybody's in their own apartment, their own house. There's people are in 10 different countries here. It's amazing, you know? And I think he would have done something similar. I don't know. I can't say exactly how he would deal. I know how he dealt with the period he lived in, which was a pretty wild period. The 60s, you know, early 70s was a pretty incredible time and a much freer time than we're living in today. And he was capable of taking that energy of that time and transforming it into this teaching that he passed on to all of us. You know, I mean, Larry, I don't know. I don't know how he would have reacted to this. I know what I'm forced to do in this, and I have grown a great deal this year. I really have. The teachings are on a whole different level than they were when we used to do classes in that place in New York, you know?
Absolutely.
So I'm, you know, I mean, we all find our way. He would have found his way. I never seen Rudi as a very technical kind of person, but then again, I'm not a very technical kind of person, and here I am using, you know, technology in order to serve God. And you know, I mean, you adjust and you find your way. He would have adjusted, found a way, you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And this is kind of like nurturing collective kind. I mean, it'd be better if I could do this with 1,000 people, but then I couldn't do it. You know, how could I do that? I would die the first day, 1,000 people sitting in front of me. You know, so there's what, 20 something people here, and that's fine. You know, if more people come, I'm open to it, you know. I mean, somebody would ask Rudi, he said, well, what if you had 1,000 people sitting? He said, well, I have to just fit them all into my heart. I mean, to me, that was a great answer, you know, and I would have to do the same thing if it grew that way. But it seems to have leveled off in the mid-20s here, you know, and in the other one, it's something like in the mid-30s, you know. But one has to adjust. I can honestly tell you, just to finish, I never dreamed of ever doing this in my life. It was so totally outside my realm of experience and consciousness to be doing this. And I think it's one of the reasons I've grown so much doing it, because I really had to adjust myself to do this kind of thing. I mean, I'm not a very technical type person, you know, computers, I know, you know, Gmail and a few other things, and that's about it, you know. But you adjust. You find ways of doing. Does anyone else have a question?
Stuart?
Yes, sir.
I don't have a question, but I want to see to you that my life is begin to be changing. Things happen. It's more love in my family. My son's, it's kissing me, loving me, helping me.
Flora, I don't understand you. You have to speak more clearly.
I want to tell you that my life is changing now to the better.
I hear you fine now. That's a very good thing to hear.
My sons are loving me very much now, and they are kissing me and helping me home. Well, and I want to just tell you that it's so beautiful. I know I have to do much more.
Laura, dear, you have great sons. They're really a wonderful young men. And,
thank you.
And I, just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Hug them back, love them back, enjoy it. Let them help you,
I do.
Wonderful, dear. That's just wonderful.
Thank
and
you.
I'm happy, really happy to hear that. It's a sign of the growth in both you and your sons, that they're
yes,
that they're opening that way. Because, look, in life, there are two connections we can never turn our back on. One is our parents and the other one is our children. Those are the two connections that are just, you've got to learn how to work out that karma. And if you don't learn how to work out that karma, you will keep coming back to the earth until you do. Parents and children. So God bless. You said something very beautiful, and I'm very happy for you and for Benjamin and for Skender. This is just terrific.
And Ulber. He's not with you, but it's much better now. He's changing too.
It works. Does meditation work? That's how you know it works. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, there'll be a meditation Tuesday evening or Tuesday afternoon. And bless you all. And, try and keep today Rudi in your heart. I know many of you, none of you have ever met him, but I'm sure you can see pictures of him. And just try to keep him in your heart and just see what happens, And I hopefully, inshallah, I'll see everybody on Tuesday, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Thank you.